It is the RIOT podcast. Good Wednesday, January 4th to you.
Listen to that deep, deep voice.
You think it sounds... Nobody really, during the show, texted in and said, what's wrong with Hudson or anything like that.
Well, because, all right, in our ears, we hear things in this studio.
Yeah.
And we always do sound worse in our ears, like in our headphones.
Yeah, we should get that fixed.
Than we do to the person on the other end listening, to where it's usually not as bad as what it actually sounds like to us. So I bet you sound just slightly off to everybody else.
A little off.
Yeah, a little deeper than normal.
Okay. So we've acknowledged that. Let's also acknowledge yesterday, Nikki, you had a day off.
Yeah, I was off.
How did that go?
It went good.
Yeah. Is that why you sound so good today?
Well, I'm just rested.
Well rested.
You got a nice day off after that long one day of work after the new
I know, that has been an exhausting Monday. Nikki just couldn't come in on Tuesday after that one day.
All right, to be fair, like I was planning on coming back today, like the whole time.
Yeah.
And then I remember we were talking about our days off. Sometimes I feel like pressured into, like, not from you guys, but just, like, I should probably come back Monday, but I had something yesterday to where I was off for a reason.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I just felt like I came in Monday. So
Yeah. Good enough.
yeah, now we're back and we're fine.
Now you're stuck here
for
a while.
Forever. And ever and ever and ever.
So today on the show, we talked about the new front runner to be named James Bond.
Yeah. And
You remember his name?
I don't remember his name, but we don't need to expose it. I wasn't going to say it.
We're not going to
It's a surprise. But if you had to elect a new front runner, who would it be?
Well, I know who I've wanted to be James Bond, and it's a popular choice, but he's just too old.
Idris Elba?
And it's Idris Elba, yeah. But I want him to be everything.
I feel like people have been talking about him because the finding a new James Bond thing, that pops up every so many years. So I think that goes back even like 5 or 6 or 7 years.
If they chose him when he was first, and when they were first looking for a James
he
Bond,
wouldn't have come off
been
as
too old. Yeah.
So they almost have to find someone who's even a little bit younger than you think, because by the time they make the Bond stuff, then this guy will be old.
And they don't want just a guy for one movie either. They want it to be long-term James Bond.
And I feel like Idris Elba also has lost some of his star power and youth. But like
he's not young.
Back in the day when he had a few more higher profile things.
Yeah.
And now, like, it's just too long for him.
And it has to be a British actor, right?
No.
Well, they have to be. It's probably going to be British or some kind of like
accent.
from the Commonwealth. A Commonwealth.
So why not, like, if you go like real young, you could do like a Tom Holland type.
No, because I think most everybody now sees him as American, even though he's not.
Yeah.
Even though he is British.
He is British, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to look through all the. There's not a wide array of actors.
You have to pick someone who doesn't already have, because Tom Holland's already known for so many other franchises that you have to pick someone who can become Bond.
What about Daniel Kaluuya?
Which one's he?
From Get Out and Nope and Judas and the Black Messiah.
I don't know him well enough.
He's a little, like, the movies are sometimes darker movies.
I recognize this guy.
Yeah, he's British.
We need mysterious. We need British. We need youth.
He's in Black Panther, right?
Nothing. He's in Black Panther.
I think he could do it.
I think
he's kind of suave, actually. If you hear him talk with his British accent, he's kind of. Maybe it's just because everybody British sounds that way. Either they sound really suave or they sound ridiculous.
So I think
there's no in between.
The one they're talking about that we talk about is I think his first name is Aaron.
Yeah.
Right? Aaron something.
Yes.
There it is.
He's got 3 of them.
Yeah, 3 names.
3 of them names.
That's official.
3 first names.
3 first names. We talk about that. We also talk about how young people are more open to wedding ring alternatives than they have been in the past.
Is that something you're thinking about?
No.
You're not open?
I mean, not that I'm not open, but I just don't think
it doesn't cross your mind.
Like the ones that I think
you don't dream about your dream ideal wedding ring.
See, my ideal wedding ring isn't a tattoo. I couldn't do the tattoo route, mainly because I'm afraid. Then moving on from that.
The silicone ones, like the workout ones?
I've seen like the workout ones, which I wouldn't mind that. And for me as a man, I don't really care what my wedding ring looks like. So
yeah, but if you ever start looking, though, then you see like the cool ones and you see the boring ones.
I don't think Isaiah's like that.
Yeah,
no,
it doesn't really bother me.
Whenever you do get married, you will look and you'll see the cool ones.
Well, I'm going to introduce you to a word.
And then you will care a little bit.
You ready for the word? Because this is what everybody does. Tungsten.
Tungsten?
Yep,
Tungsten.
What the heck is that?
It's a tungsten ring.
It's like a type of
tungsten
metal.
ring.
It's a metal.
Really?
It's affordable, but still like it's very manly and modern looking. And every guy I know gets a tungsten ring.
By the time Isaiah gets married, that might
There'll
not
be
be
a
the
new
trend
metal?
anymore.
Maybe
Yeah.
out by that time. See, my thing is I just don't really know how important it is to me.
Oh,
I think to the ladies it's very important, like what ring they get and whatnot. But for guys, I don't feel like it's nearly that important.
A lot of times, like I think the old style would be that the guy's ring would match the woman's ring, or like it'd be like a set. But nowadays, I don't think anybody does that.
That's just whatever.
What we've learned a lot in going through that survey and everything was just that times have changed, and whatever, if you have an old school idea of what a proposal and an engagement ring and everything looks like, it's not that way anymore.
No, nowadays you shouldn't have to try hard for anything.
Why don't we even do the ring thing?
No
Not
parties,
even that.
no nothing, and I'm sure she'll love it, whatever you come up with.
Yeah, we talked about that. We also touched on a pig that they are deeming overweight. Seems like an odd concept.
Well, overweight, you got to give more info. Overweight for the city that he lives in.
Yes, of course.
Because it's a city ordinance that thou shalt not be over 75 pounds if you're a pig.
In Oklahoma. See, yet again, it seems like a place that they would allow pigs. Not that I think Oklahoma's a country
Unless
town.
they always, okay, well, that's such a barbecue area. Maybe
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe that was
Once
just
it gets to 75 pounds, you
then
better
it's
slaughter it.
barbecue.
They're like,
yeah.
So
Makes
that's why they're
sense.
trying
Put
to
that
get
thing
all
on
of
a
them.
spit and get it over the fire. Yeah.
Aw. Well, enjoy the podcast today. Happy to have another edition. So make sure you text and say hi at 877-2-RADIO-U and tell us where you as a podcast listener are listening from.
And hopefully tomorrow my voice will sound the way it's supposed to.
No more talking today.
All right, I'm going to shut up.
See you guys.
Well, you have to say goodbye first.
Yeah,
and
say
then-
goodbye.
And then no more talking.
Catch you next time.
It's the worst of the riot on Radio U.
Are you guys ready for a new James Bond?
Ooh, are we going to get one?
Of one day,
One day?
and hopefully sooner than later, right? Daniel Craig has passed on the mantle. He's given it away. He's retired. He's moved on to bigger and better things, like being Benoit Blanc.
Okay.
And so the search continues for the new James Bond.
Sure.
A lot of names have been thrown out there, but it sounds like we might finally have the new James Bond actor in our sights.
Neither of you guys, you did not make it through to the...
They said I wasn't British enough.
Oh, okay. Well, we could have worked past that.
I tried doing my accent for
Yeah.
them. I was like, blimey. And they didn't.
That's offensive. So
Yeah.
the whole movie.
They said James
Isaiah,
Bond
did
has
you
never
not-
said blimey in a single movie before.
Did you not get a call back?
I don't think that I would be a good James Bond, unfortunately, so I didn't enter myself.
Did you try your British accent?
I just don't think that I would fit the role well. I think overall, I'm not. I might not be cunning enough. As
Not
James
suave
Bond.
enough.
Yeah, he's just a little bit. He's real preppy, looks good, and for me, I don't think I'd be able to play the role.
Maybe a new take on James Bond would have been to have him not be British.
I know.
That could have been. Some thought maybe an Australian actor has been thrown out there. I feel like Isaiah was just throwing out some stuff there where he's like, he wanted us to compliment him.
I think you're supposed to say I was waiting the whole time for you guys to turn it around and be
To
like,
step
no,
in.
you'd be
you would be the perfect James Bond.
You are suave. You
I
just
know.
need some gadgets and some more money.
They said I'm just too funny, I guess. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Must be it.
Well, the actual actor that is in talks to become James Bond with Barbara Broccoli herself. She's the James Bond producer.
Oh, her last name's Broccoli?
Yeah.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that. I
Barbara
guess.
Broccoli.
She must have had a tough time.
alliteration.
That's not a professional name, meaning I don't think she...
It's not a fake one.
Yeah, because a lot of times
But-
when you do, Hollywood or whatever, you change your name.
Yeah.
But if you're sticking with Barbara Broccoli...
Yeah.
Wow. She probably married into it.
Oh, no, that's worse. Sounds like, what was that old show when you were little Veggie Tales?
Yes, that's what it sounds like. That is what it sounds like.
No offense, again, it's fine. It's just a very strong name.
She sounds like an animated character in
Yeah.
a children's movie.
Definitely does. But you know what, though? How many producers' names do you know?
Now we know this
Now,
one.
you're
Yep.
not going to forget Barbara Broccoli. And she's been in talks with Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Ooh.
You know who that is? Does that name instantly ring a bell?
Well, I told you I was watching Bullet Train last night. He's in that.
He's in that movie. But I think for a lot of people, I don't even know if you'd recognize him. But
I do.
He's a guy you've seen in movies, but he's not a megastar, which is one of the things that they were looking for the new James Bond. He also is British, if you didn't know, and he's only 32 years old, which is surprising. I kind of thought He feels like he's been around a little while.
Sometimes, though, he looks younger than that, but then you're right. He's done more work than that, so you don't know.
But he is in talks with Barbara Broccoli. Pretty serious. The meeting went well, they say, and so he might be in line to take over as James Bond. Yeah,
he was in Tenet, Outlaw King, Avengers, Godzilla, and more.
Nocturnal Animals. Is that where you saw him?
I saw him in Avengers.
Yeah.
I didn't even recognize him from Avengers.
From Quicksilver?
But I knew that he was the bad guy in Nocturnal Animals. Okay, next question. You guys think he's good looking enough to be James Bond?
I think he is.
I think he's a pretty good looking guy.
He's very good looking. And I think to me, he's more good looking than Daniel Craig. That he has.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, this is more like an everyday, like really good looking Daniel Craig. I don't know. He was always an older good looking.
That's what I was going to say. He was kind of older.
Like, we don't need distinguished good looking like that. But he looks more just more modern.
I think Aaron Taylor Johnson, I'm looking at a lot of pictures of him here, and it's a real, like, I guess, 50-50 shot of whether he looks good or not.
Well,
to
it also
me.
depends on his role. I mean, if they're not playing it up, if they don't want him to be.
Maybe they don't want a sexy James Bond anymore.
Well, maybe his roles weren't very sexy.
No wonder I didn't get the job.
That could be it.
Are we ready for a long-haired James Bond? Because a lot of times Aaron Taylor Johnson got long hair.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, he should definitely go with that look, which would be a new thing for James Bond.
What's her name? Barbara Broccoli.
Barbara Broccoli.
That we need a long-haired
We need
James
a long-haired
Bond.
version.
All right. Well, it could be in the works. It sounds like things are going in that direction. So, nevertheless, if you're waiting for new James Bond movies, sounds like they're coming soon.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, it's still early, so it could be a few years.
They got to fast track it.
This is Radio U's Worst of the Riot.
Stop me if you've heard this before. But as you plan to what you're going to do with your Christmas tree now that it's time to take it down, you could consider the option of eating it.
Your Christmas tree?
Yeah, have you heard this before?
Now, I assume you mean if you got a live one and not an artificial one?
Well, I think that's assumed.
Can you eat trees? I thought we weren't supposed to.
I don't know if that's assumed. Like, what kind of person eats a regular tree? I feel like artificial almost makes more sense.
I mean, maybe we're just not creative enough.
I know, clearly. I guess you boil it? I don't know.
If you made the artificial tree, wouldn't it melt?
Yeah.
But see, that would still make more sense to me than the regular
real
tree.
tree.
And you'd have to de-string the lights from the artificial tree. And so, because you can't eat those, there's all like mercury in them and stuff. Okay.
But wood, you can eat, I guess.
Yes, you can
Obviously.
say it's organic.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
So your Christmas tree, you're actually able, and some people encourage you, instead of just dumping it on the side of the road for Christmas tree pickup day, you can chop it all up and use almost the entire tree in food in some way.
Well, I feel like this is reaching, but what do they suggest we put it in? Put it on our pizza.
From
Clearly.
Julia Jorgalis. She's the author of How to Eat Your Christmas Tree.
Oh, that made it to a book. That's fine.
She says, first of all, you can use the needles as you would rosemary or bay leaves.
Okay.
Now, with bay leaves,
I thought we always took that stuff
those
out.
It'd be a lot of work to have to pick the needles out of a stew or something like that.
So I guess it means like if you tied them together, you could flavor something with it.
Oh, there you go. Tie it together. That's. You must be a cook, Nikki. To know how to do that.
You can blend them into vinegar because, that sounds good. Or crush them if you want to flavor gin or alcohol.
It looks like you can. Here we go. This is something we do. You can use them for pickling eggs or vegetables.
Gosh, all this sounds gross.
But you don't want the tree to go to waste, though.
I know, but listen, this sounds like you got lost in the woods full of Christmas trees, and this is a way to survive if need be, but otherwise, I'm not eating the Christmas tree.
What about this? Pine needle tea. That's big on TikTok. You seen videos about that?
Oh, no.
Pine needle tea.
Now, we could do that.
Right? You
I find I'm allergic. So.
You boil pots of water with pre-washed pine leaves and branches, and then you drink the broth.
Ooh.
I've actually seen a guy I follow on TikTok do that.
They like it?
Yeah, but I hate tea, so I don't think it would work for me. But I guess it wouldn't taste like tea, would it? Because there's no tea leaves involved.
They say Christmas trees can help heal sore muscles. So if your your New Year, New You resolution was to work out more, so if you start feeling sore, take your tree, make it into tea, and then you're good.
I feel like the better alternative is like, can't you just like replant your tree?
No, because you
can't
cut it
do
at
that.
the bottom.
See,
but that's a new thing though.
What is?
Is buying a tree
A potted one.
Yeah, a potted one. And
yeah.
then it makes it taller, but then you can replant it out in your yard.
See,
every
that makes
year.
more sense to me than trying to
one's
eat
doing
your
that,
tree.
though.
See,
Yeah.
no one should be eating your tree either.
But listen, if you do have a replantable tree, did you know that not only obviously is that great because you only buy it once, right? But you can also eat the buds when they sprout in the spring.
Stop it.
I'm done eating the tree. Go get a job and just eat regular food. Like, if you're eating your tree, you need to stop working wherever you're working, and you need to go get a raise, and you need to buy some real food.
Like, I know that everybody wants to be like, try to top each other and be like, all right, well, are you good at, like, are you so good to where you ate your tree when you were done? But this isn't really eating it. It's just more like flavoring things with it.
You're putting like
still
pine
you're putting it
needles
to good
in a
use.
diffuser. Like, that's not actually doing anything for you. You're just a little bit too much for me.
Here's what I think you should do. I mean, maybe eat your tree, but more importantly, you go eat other people's trees because everybody else is just throwing them out.
Oh, you go
So
pick
if
it
you
up.
You
really
can just
wanna
feed yourself for a year. I mean, if you want my
Exactly.
tree,
Think
go
of
for
all
it.
the free tea you could be drinking.
Well, it's an idea. So if you're like, wow, you're eyeing your tree and you haven't taken it down yet.
You're licking your chops.
Oh gosh.
If you're really starving, like if you have no food, you should just donate your tree to a homeless person. That way they have some food.
Oh, that's awful.
There you go.
I don't think they
Go
would.
down and hand them a tree. I'm sure they'll be ecstatic for that.
This is the Riot Radio U.
You got to start thinking about Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I mean that would be
Right about now.
the next bigger thing.
It's coming up. It's I don't know if you know this. Every year it's the same time. It's February 14th.
Oh, I've got it marked down.
You do?
I'm prepping.
What
But
do
I
you
guess-
need to know about Valentine's Day?
I'm just prepping for it.
You
Who
never
knows? I have a
know.
full month.
This year though, it's on a Tuesday.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's a crappy day.
Yeah, I feel like it too.
Why not? It makes an ordinary Tuesday in the middle of a terrible month a little more fun.
I guess we have been complaining about holidays being on the weekends
Yeah.
recently, so maybe it will make us Tuesday
No.
feel a little
Except we
special.
don't get
We're complaining
Valentine's
because we're
Day
not
off.
getting it
Get a
off.
day off.
Right.
But we get Valentine's Day off, of
No,
course.
we
The day of
don't.
love.
And what's hard, I think, is depending on like the relationship. I feel like you almost have to have one the weekend before Valentine's Day, like a date, and then what do? You do something again on actual
Why do you make
Valentine's
it sound
Day?
like a chore?
Well, no,
You
because
have to spend time with the person you love and care about twice.
That's a lot of pressure, though, because Valentine's Day pressure enough, but then you have the weekend right before it.
Yeah.
You got to come up with two things you want to do.
Well,
That's
the
true.
good news is I believe the new Ant-Man movie comes out right around Valentine's
not
Day.
That's
filling
a
in the
good
box.
Valentine's
No, it is
knock
not.
that one out, and then you only have to come up with one other date idea.
Well, okay, maybe one date would be more for whoever would like Ant-Man, and then the other would be for the other person.
So with Valentine's Day coming up, that's going to be a big day for engagements, I think. As if that's my prediction. My prediction, a lot of people get engaged on Valentine's Day. It's a little cliche, but it's definitely going to happen. And so if you're thinking of either doing that or proposing anytime soon, I've got a new survey here from Minted that has a lot of interesting information on what people are thinking about engagements these days. First of all, for younger people, I'm going to ignore like baby boomers and whatever, but for like people that are probably more likely to be getting engaged, especially around Valentine's Day, much more open to different kinds of engagement rings.
Oh,
Yeah.
what does that mean? Like not
well,
a diamond?
Yep, exactly. Typically, you're thinking a diamond ring, but for Gen Z and millennials, 74% are open to different kinds of rings. 15% said tattoo rings.
Oh.
What do you guys think about that?
Well, I think it's hard to engage with because then, you're like, well, we're going here.
We're
you'd have
going.
you'd have
you
to
get
propose
engaged at the
near the tattoo place because I feel like you have to have something. Sometimes that's more like for if you actually get married, if you don't want to wear a wedding band.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Okay, what about...
How about a ring pop? No.
That's what I was thinking. You just propose
That's
with the ring
about-
pop and say we're just gonna get tattoos. I guess.
Later.
That's what was in my my price range when I got engaged. How about emerald rings.
Ooh,
okay?
that's pretty.
So it's like different precious stones, but or
Not as
gems,
expensive.
but not necessarily a diamond. But maybe sometimes I think a little more flashy. If you go with an emerald, 37% said that would be fine. 36% said sapphire.
Ooh.
And then I don't know how this would how would metal, that was the top one, 40%, be like the focal point of a ring? I
Maybe
can't picture that.
You didn't have a stone.
Well, that doesn't sound very
like this.
flashy at all.
Are you showing a picture?
Just like like that, right?
Well, that looks
doesn't
more
help
like a
the
wedding
listeners.
band than a.
The metal ring. I'm trying to explain to Hudson. I assume all the listeners understand. I mean, I got it right away. I just thought it was a Hudson mistake.
I'm the ring expert.
I mean, obviously, I knew exactly what they were
I
saying.
just like how Isaiah's turning it towards us. Like, you guys can't see
Well,
it.
I wanted someone to be able. I wanted Nikki to explain what the heck I'm looking at because I
Those
wouldn't be
just
able to
look
give a good.
Those look like wedding bands. They don't
depiction.
look like
Yeah, it's just a
engagement
wedding
rings.
That's what
band.
it is.
Yeah.
But I thought we were talking about engagement rings. It's a different thing, right?
You
No,
still
this is
could.
what
You
it
wouldn't
is.
propose to somebody with that. I don't. Well, I guess 40% of people would be okay.
They
if you
would.
did,
These are
apparently.
alternative ones. They're not the
Apparently.
traditional look.
Now this is important. That most people want to think twice. You have to pause before you post on Instagram. Although that's something that you would be very excited about. The majority of people say they think they're friends, and then they themselves would be offended if they found out first through social media.
Oh, instead of finding
Instead
out in person.
Letting somebody out, letting everybody know personally.
No, listen, you don't give up that social media gold right there. You got to post
Well, they're
it.
still gonna like it. They're less likely to like it if you don't tell them first.
Oh,
'cause
yeah,
they might
big
be
baby.
upset.
It's not about you anyway.
That's right.
It's about
That's
me
right.
and my girl, not
Did you
all
hear
my
that,
friends.
Isaiah, friends? He's calling you big
It's
babies.
not about you, big babies.
Let's see. 25% of people say the ring is the most important part of the actual proposal, whereas like 40% of people say it's what the person says when they propose. What do you think about that?
I think that 25% that says the ring is the most important part, that's probably the 25% that all were females that recorded. And then the guys probably said a bunch of other really ridiculous
And
things.
25%
They're
of
not the
females are
ones-
lying.
They're
Yeah.
not the ones caring about what they're saying.
No.
So, and then if you're thinking about like old traditions in regards to proposing, like 51% say getting down on one knee is important. That means 49% of people don't care if you get down on one knee. That's
Sure.
interesting.
It's like, what are you going to do in that moment, though? Like, what's your plan if you don't get down on the
Stand
knee?
face to face,
Stand
look
up
them
and
in
just
the
be like,
eye.
here you go?
Be on a level playing field.
But how would they know it's coming, though? I feel like they'd be so
I
surprised.
think what we're saying is people don't like to, you don't have to overthink it ahead of time.
I guess
it's more of the moment.
As I go through this, what
No one
I'm
plans
seeing
anymore.
is there's the typical old school proposal idea that you have in the movies of you get down on one knee, it's in a public place, and you have the biggest ring ever. But these days, that's not necessarily how it has to be. That people prefer something actually more private than public, but they do want it to be a surprise as well, is what I'm seeing. So as long as you surprise them and say something nice, apparently that's good enough.
You just do whatever you want. It's just about you and her anyway.
Play it by ear. Play it by
Oh,
ear.
now hang on with that one.
You know,
Last second thing. Just throw it together.
Maybe a tiny bit of planning.
The Riot with Hudson and Nikki on Radio U.
town in Oklahoma has a bit of a controversy on their hands. It all revolves around a pig named Larry.
And what did the pig do?
Well, Larry is a potbelly pig, and he got this whole ordeal started back on Thursday when he escaped from his pen. Now, here's the problem with Larry. Larry is a really large pig.
Mm-hmm.
You could say Larry is such a big pig that his pen has stretch marks.
Oh,
And
is that a big pig joke?
Yeah. he got out of his pen on Thursday and started running around the streets of the town of Moore, Oklahoma. And when he runs around the streets, he really runs around the streets.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So but Larry is a real big pig, and that is the problem. According to a city ordinance in Moore, Oklahoma, Larry is legally too big for a pig.
What? For a pig in the city to have, like
How
at your
big is he?
house, They say that the pigs can't be more than 75 pounds and then 20 inches, even though I don't think we're actually getting a true weight on Larry.
No, they just said he's so big when he goes camping, the bears hide their
Will
food.
You stop? Come on.
He's not even a big pig. He's a small pig. Like, he's not a big pig.
He's a potbelly pig, but he is over 75 pounds. And because he got out, city officials had to capture him. And that's when his owner was issued a warning that Larry exceeds the city's ordinance.
So now the question is, what are the owners going to do?
I think they're trying, or they were saying that the owner has to get rid of the pig and can't have it at their house.
Is it just a pig rule, or is it a dog rule too, or
No,
just a pig rule?
I think it's just a pig one.
That's kind of odd though. Like, how can you? It's like the same thing as a dog. A pig is.
Yeah.
So like,
there wouldn't be very many dogs over 75 pounds either.
I think you'd be pretty surprised.
My dog Sugar is.
Yeah,
and
that's all I was gonna
I know
say.
there are,
I'm
but
not
it'd be
getting
Like, my
British
dog
Sugar.
Jim isn't even a big dog, and he's 60 pounds, and so I feel like 75 is a low number.
Well,
I think
this is
maybe-
also probably a law that goes back to like the 1800s.
True, yes.
When they couldn't
And they're
give
using it
pigs
to get
all
rid of
this-
Larry.
Right, yeah, but they couldn't use, back in those days, they didn't have like growth hormones for pigs and stuff.
Well, it could
so they were
also
all
be
smaller.
You know, like if he really is in a pig pen, is he outside? Like if you're not having the pet inside all the time, maybe there's just different rules with it. But either Larry has to go on a diet, I don't know if that's possible, or they have to relocate the pig.
Well, there's no way they're getting Larry down to 75 pounds. I can tell you that right now. Just by the look of him, he's way over 75 pounds.
Let's not
Well,
be
it's gonna take a while.
sizist.
It's going to
Let's
take
not
I mean,
it.
just based off of how I'm looking at him here, I think that
Can't we put him on a scale and put one leg off?
like,
You
he's
know,
for
like, try to
sure, like,
cheat?
he's definitely over 100 pounds for sure. I think the funnier thing is watching the video of the officers trying to wrangle the pig.
I think that's why they're mad.
They're definitely why they're mad, because it's a little bit embarrassing here. Them trying to wrangle this pig down. You should have just called me and my father, and we would have caught him quicker than these guys.
No.
Yeah, but
'cause
he
you're
has to
not-
live, though, Isaiah.
You're not
But
killing the pig.
put him in the house. What do you mean?
So animal control officers, did get him back in and recaptured him. But now I think she has a few weeks to decide on if the pig needs to be relocated. But I mean, the pig can't lose that much weight in enough time.
So
Yeah, there's no way.
they could also just,
No.
what?
Well,
I didn't even say anything.
That's relocate, as in that sort of relocate. I think they mean like a pig sanctuary.
Yeah.
Which also
okay.
is in code.
Like a farm.
For the butcher.
Yeah.
Like I think there are places where you can actually send an animal and they don't kill them.
Can they
Yeah.
just build like a shed on the outskirts of town?
Oh, and leave
Where
it
it's-
there?
Yeah, where it's technically not in the town of Moore or the city of Moore, but he's still close by.
Sure.
They can still go visit him and everything. I don't know.
I'll have
I'm
to-
trying to think of something.
I think
Well,
just relocate him to a little farm, and then it'll all be okay.
So they say that when she got Larry, it was 9 years ago. The only requirement for her to have the pig in the area was paperwork saying that he was a miniature potbelly and having certification. But they say that there's really nothing is like a miniature potbelly, that they're all just larger like this. They'll just grow.
Like, this is not a miniature potbelly. Like, this is not a small pig.
But it is a reminder, though, that we've seen in other places, because pigs are a more popular pet. They've grown in popularity, but a lot of times you get them and they're young and you don't realize how big they will get, and then they can turn into Larry here and become a real problem.
Listen, he lives better than us. He's got a fenced-in yard, a lean-to, insulated house with a heater, solar-powered air conditioner.
Whoa.
He's like you. He's got blankies.
Ridiculous.
He's got a swimming pool. Like, he's living well.
Dang, there's no way Larry wants to leave. He's like, keep me here. There's no way wherever I'm headed.
I'll lose the weight.
Yes, there's no way wherever I'm headed it's going to be better than this right now. He has no idea how good he has it.
Well, no one's going to let Larry go away. I think people in the community are rallying to make sure Larry can stay.
There's probably just one angry mayor that hates pigs for some reason that's making this an issue.
The Riot. Radio U.
How do you guys feel about hospitals?
I don't think any of us like to go to hospitals.
As a patient or otherwise, right?
Both, yeah.
It's not fun. You know, one of the worst things about hospitals?
What?
The attire.
The clothes you wear?
When you have to be in a hospital gown, you know who looks good in a hospital gown?
Nobody.
No one?
Nobody. Which is why there's a company simply called Life that is trying to make fashionable hospital gowns so that when you're stuck at the hospital with whatever ailments you have, hopefully you can look and feel a little better about yourself.
Honestly, they look nice. Like, it looks like weekend wear.
It does. It looks like lounge wear.
Like
totally do it.
Nice linen.
Yeah.
You think? They say they're supposed to be more comfortable as well as look nicer than what you typically would expect to wear in a hospital.
And I guess I never thought about this, but they say it's made from a special fabric because if you're going to the doctor's office, like sometimes you have to wear, you guys, we talked about this. I know you guys aren't going to a doctor, but if you do go to your doctor office, sometimes you have to wear the gown there. But they're saying that because gowns have to be washed in such harsh detergent and like really, really hot water, that if it was like our clothes, they would just disintegrate. Yeah, after a while. So you have to make hospital clothes and doctor clothing. Usually it doesn't feel nice because it has to maintain and have, less wear. So it has to be a little bit special of a fabric.
Yeah, I think this is a good idea. I think it would lead to a lot better outcomes because think of it. If you're stuck in the hospital and you're in a hospital gown, you look ridiculous. And so you can't feel good. And the doctors and nurses are looking at you. They're seeing you. They don't see you in your normal clothes, how you normally look. They're seeing you sick or whatever.
Yeah.
And in your just in a bad style. You're looking ridiculous. And they're looking at you and they're thinking, what does this guy have to live for? He's looking horrible.
Whoa.
Well, that went really
That
dark.
seemed really went down there really quick.
He looks ridiculous.
This dude isn't even good looking. This guy isn't even cute.
Gosh, have you been in the hospital?
Yeah,
I
It's
know.
not that
I feel like
bad.
nobody looks good in the hospital as is. If you're in the hospital, I mean, you could be the best looking guy. If you head to the hospital, this isn't going to be your best look no matter what it is. You're
that's
probably not in
why-
great
Because you're stuck in
condition.
hospital
You're probably
gowns.
not in great condition.
But listen, it levels the field when you're at the hospital because it's not a beauty pageant.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a handsome
That's why the
competition.
nurses and doctors work for 12 hours straight, so they also look as rough as the patients.
Don't you think they would treat you better and give you better care if you did look really nice, though?
No, but
if a hospital gown was like a tuxedo and you
What?
had your hair all done, and they're like, wow, this guy looks like he's really successful. I want to
Dang.
make sure that he gets the best care.
Well, that's how I know I start going to the doctor, because obviously if I go in there, I'm going to get the best service because I'm such a good-looking guy. They're going to be like, wow, this guy has to live. Like, we got to keep him alive.
I will say, if you went to a doctor or a hospital and they had this clothing, I would totally want to take it with you when you were leaving the hospital.
Oh, yeah.
You could just wear it home with you.
They should. It's the least they can do.
I know, for all the money you're spending.
Besides saving your life.
Well,
It's the next
putting
least
that-
thing they could do.
Putting that aside, a few new clothing options is good.
Yeah, I think it would soften the blow when you get the bill.
So these are nice. This is mostly targeted towards hospitals in Japan right now, but they'd come in 4 colors: a pink, a dusk, a blue, gray, and a wine red.
Oh, I think the dusk would work good on me.
Looks nice.
Yeah.
Looks
All right.
good.
Well, something coming to Japan, and hopefully we can learn a thing or two here in the United States about taking care of people at the hospital as well.
Thanks for watching the worst of the riot. Since you made it this far, you might as well like, subscribe, and check out riot.radiou.com for even more riot.